If you're tired of the standard business and marketing fundamentals, frameworks, and funnels, you need a little mischief. Get ready to turn up the volume on the CEO Mischief Maker podcast, where you access conversations with seasoned business owners who have smashed through mindset barriers, innovated the standard boring business and marketing playbooks, and executed future-paced strategies with bleeding-edge tools and tactics to micro-fail their way into massive success and growth. We are Mindset Impact Strategic Catalysts helping innovative entrepreneurs focus. We are CEO Mischief Makers. Ready to make a little mischief? Look, we all know that video is the pinnacle of inbound lead generation. All the platforms are prioritizing for video content, and there's no sign of that slowing down. But the problem is, where do you start? How can we quickly and effectively translate our content into a video format? What's the best gear? How does this not become a time suck? All right, Kathryn has created a quick course called the Content Creation Crash Course. It's the easiest way to start creating vertical videos. In it, you will generate at least 27 pieces of content and create systems for turning out more high-quality content every single month. You will also learn how to properly shoot and edit videos using just your smartphone, plus time-saving tips so you're not wasting your life creating content day in and day out. Get the crash course at callmemkj.com/cam. That's callmemkj.com/CAM. Welcome back, Mischief Makers. MKJ here, and my incredible guest, Kathryn King. Kathryn, how you doing?
Good. I'm good. I'm great.
Yeah. Isn't it fun? We get to chat about really interesting things and open up our hearts and let millions of people we've never met listen.
Oh, millions. Don't freak me out here. That's good.
Oh my gosh. All right. So we talked about mindset, and in order to, if you're listening to this episode and you have not listened to Monday's episode, you need to go back and listen because it sets the stage. And Kathryn and I have quite a few similarities in some of our previous mindset shifts that we've had to make. So let's take it the next step and take where you are now and what you're doing now and how you are impacting people, impacting businesses, and how you're innovating your process. So let's start with impact. Who do you serve? Who do you want to help tell stories through video?
Yeah. So, I mean, for the past 15, 16, 17 years, I've been serving agencies and brands. So, just to drop a few names, because I like to pat myself on the back sometimes. They're major good accomplishments. I work for brands like Volkswagen, Google, Facebook, Twitter, a lot of the big guys with big budgets. And it was fun. It's awesome. But recently I've, been doing a lot of reflective work and all the inner stuff that people do when they get about my age, I guess, and just trying to figure out, what it is, what's next in the season. I've kind of reached a point where I need to, it's kind of twofold, but I felt like I needed to change some things business wise to sort of transform with the market. Right. And also personally to be in more of to not only like be in my zone of genius, but also use that zone of genius to serve the folks that I enjoy serving. So now I'm starting to transition from this agency side of the world, the commercial side of the world, to help out other entrepreneurs, whether it be, coaches, other creatives, other people who are just trying to make their mark on the world. Basically, I want to help people that help people. And so going from, helping companies that sell widgets, sell things, sell consumer items, I want to help people that sell different ways of thinking, different ways of living your life, because that's what I love to do in my spare time. My wife is always like, why are you working in your spare time? Why are you reading all these self-improvement books in your spare time? I was like, I just really enjoy it. Like it's enjoyable to me. And so for me to bring that into my zone of genius and my expertise to help those people tell their story and get their story out there to help more people, it's kind of like, I'm just one person helping out the one person that helps out 100,000 people. That's kind of how I look at it.
Yes. Yeah. And that's because that's a different, so let's I get that impact, because I
Mhm,
agree with you. I'm right in that exact same impact. Um,
mhm,
but the way you structure your service, your
mhm.
storytelling, is it different between the corporates selling the widgets and the coaches trying to help people change their way of thinking? Is your storytelling process different between those two groups of clients?
I mean, yes and no. Yes, in the way that we're going from sort of a big corporate brand, right, to a person usually. And even so, you can arguably say that a lot of these brands are going more towards personal branding, but it really is personal branding and trying to get the so the thing with the big thing with big brands is finding what makes you different, right? There's tons of cars out there, tons of manufacturers, but how can we make ourselves stand out from the competition? It's all about standing out, it's all about differentiating yourself. And so they have different features, like some cars are fancy, some cars are for the lower end, some cars have hatchbacks to fit in with the cool kids, whatever that is that makes them stand out for particular audiences. The same thing goes with personal branding. It's all about you and what you present. You might teach the same exact thing as someone else, but the way you present it and the way you tell it and the way that you come across in your story is what differentiates you. So that's really the story we're trying to help others tell, is like, how can we pull out your difference? How can we pull out you to make you stand out to the people that really need to find you? So, but on a basic level, it's still storytelling, right? It's problem solution. You have a problem and we're going to give you solution, and that's the basic storytelling framework that we use to help folks do that. It's just, a matter of finding it in your own words.
That's it. That is exactly what you just explained, is the innovation piece of this process for me. Because no matter what, even if you set up your camera in the exact same positioning to the person and with the exact same framing and the exact same focus angles and all those things, even if you set up that process exactly the same for each client, whether it's a Google or whether it's a coach, which I don't think you do, right? I mean, it's
Mhm,
going to be, you're going to add that angle of, or that flavor of whomever's story you're actually telling. And so
mhm,
that is innovation. It's, yes, it's shooting a story. Yes, it's using video, but you're doing it in a way that maximizes the experience, the strengths, and the uniqueness of the particular person that you are shooting or you are helping tell a story. So, in that sense, I imagine that a corporate brand, if you're trying to do a video, is very different than an individual. Is that right?
yeah, yeah, I would say
Yeah.
so overall.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah,
For
because
sure.
if you're shooting a car, it's a thing, and you're, even if there's a person there, it's still a thing, and you're talking about what the thing does or what the thing is different, how the thing is different. But with a person, there really is a human behind that, and there is an experience or a tragedy or a trauma or a triumph or whatever it is that you are trying to showcase.
Exactly. Yeah. And just to double down on that, it's um, we've all heard of the thousand true fans and things like that, right? We're moving from this world of like, let's say it is a car commercial, you broadcast one commercial to millions of people on Super Bowl Sunday. Well, now you're broadcasting, if you're a personal brand, you're broadcasting a series of videos to, 1,000 to a couple 100,000 people over the span of time to really tell your story and to get people to know and trust you. It's a different form of marketing. It's a different way of thinking about marketing, but it's still storytelling. And you're really still trying to connect with the right people, and you do that through your story. So for instance, we talked about in the first part, I come from a blue collar background, just like you do, and not everybody's going to resonate with that, you know what I mean, and that's fine. But using that part of my story, there is somebody out there who's just like me, who's a 38-year-old white dude who wants to grow on organic social media, who resonates with that story because he went through the same experience, and he'll hit me up in the DMs and be like, hey man, we have a lot of in common, let's chat. So, and that's how marketing is done a lot these days.
Yes, and it's okay. I
Mhm.
have people in my audience from all different backgrounds. So
Mhm.
whatever it is in my story, um, it resonates with them. And I haven't pinpointed what that is. To be honest with you, I have no idea what it is.
Mhm.
I just talk like I talk. But they're all different backgrounds from all different countries. Really, half of the people in my audience are in Europe and Australia,
Mhm.
um, and the Near East, and half of the people in my audience are from the U.S. So and from varying ages, varying experience levels, varying backgrounds, varying marriage and family types. But it's there's something, and I may have to have you help me tell my story in a little
Mhm.
more succinct way with video to really help pinpoint what it is that I'm saying that makes people comfortable comfortable, because that's really what it is, right? It's
Mhm.
I resonate with you. I understand what you say. You're speaking my language. All those
Yeah.
terms and and how you do that. So let's get a little more into the to some of the video forms. I mentioned things like camera angle and lighting and focus and all that stuff. Do you have a particular process that you use for that? I mean, is that a pretty standard thing for you that you said you mastered this? So is part of that mastery the details of how to set things up?
Yes, and I would say I would argue that like when it what comes with a form of mastery, it also comes with a form of probably perfectionism as well. So what I do for myself, my personal things, and for let's say a high end corporate client would be different than what you should probably do in your house. Like
Yeah, yeah.
the and I don't want to freak anybody out. Like you need to like right now I'm on a DSLR. But to be honest with you, a lot of my social media stuff I do is not on the DSLR. I use this for like YouTube and stuff. But when it's just me spouting off 10 seconds of wisdom or whatever, I'll just plop this bad boy up and do it.
Yeah.
Um, I, there are certain things obviously you got to be aware of, like headroom and
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
noise in the room. You want to make sure there's no construction next door, that sort of thing, or your kids screaming cuss words in the background. But other than that, like you know, it's the barrier to entry. Is that the right term? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is pretty low these days, and but awesome. That's awesome in a way. You know what I mean? Whereas
Yeah.
10 years ago, you had to fork over 5 grand just to record a video.
Yeah, yeah, I get it. My son has a Nikon something DSLR. I've got an old Canon that's still film, right? It's not
Mm.
it's not digital, it's actual film still. And that still takes some of the best pictures ever. But my
Mhm.
son has a Nikon similar DSLR option with it's all digital. So I could easily go into the closet because he's left it here, right? He's off on his own and he's left his camera. I'm like, that just made me
Mhm.
think, well, what the heck? I could go take that camera and start using
Mhm.
it in my videos. So but
Mhm.
even so, I've got a little, camera that's a USB connected to my computer that does great. It's
Yeah, looks
amazing.
good.
I
Yeah.
can change. Thank you. I can change the lighting on it. I can change all that. So in that sense, when you said perfectionist, um, that perfectionism is what allows you to be the master that you are, and to things that are just automatic to you, and you check off in your mind automatically without even thinking that okay, lighting's here, sound is there, at this level or what acceptable or ideal or whatever. Those things you automatically do. Are
Mhm.
there any specific um, processes that you just do for everyone? No matter what video you're doing,
Mhm.
do you have a very specific setup, or is it different with each person?
Well, I mean, first of all, like anybody who's involved with this, you kind of get you can nerd out on technology all day long, right? You can buy the best DSLR setup, and this is something I've kind of been preaching for years. Is that, but if you don't get the pre work done first, like that's if you make a film, if you make a commercial, pre production is usually the longest. Before camera rolls, pre production is usually the longest phase. Post-production can be long too, but mainly pre-production. It's just all the planning, getting people lined up, making sure you have a script, making sure the script, you go through several changes with the script, and even before you hit record, because you want to make sure you maximize the time on recording day. Because sometimes, when you're recording a commercial, if it's a $500,000 commercial, you don't want to burn any film. You don't want to waste time not knowing what you're going to say,
Yeah.
So, first of all, the process involved for us is really just, it's strategy. It's figuring out your personal branding, your voice, your story, your objectives, your goals, all that stuff, and really laying out a strategy to maximize what you're going to do on camera, and then, once you're on camera these days, a lot of stuff that I'm starting to specialize in now is vertical video, because that's just kind of where it is right now, especially with organic. It's vertical video. I love YouTube as well. You can still do that in horizontal view, but
Mhm.
those vertical short form, minute or less, 30 seconds or less videos is where the most bang for your buck is nowadays, as far as getting eyeballs.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, Mischief Makers, hang on, because on Friday, we are going to dive into some of these details. And I agree 100%. The strategy, the upfront work to get ready to do whatever it is you do is always takes the longest. It always is the most difficult and the time consuming. So yeah, we get to dive into those details. You ready to do that with me and in the next episode?
Sure.
Yay. Okay, hold on. If your mindset was shifted, you were inspired to innovate, and you were spurred into action, don't just move on with your day. Focus, my friend, and take a few minutes to visit ceomischiefmaker.com to learn more about the value that was shared with you today. Please act now and create some CEO mischief of your own.